All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakwakadash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the brothers that are doing this work in true sincerity. And we're going to jump right into the lesson. This is 1 Samuel 2 and 10, and it's spoken by Hannah, which was the mother of Samuel. And this is a prophecy that she proclaimed in the spirit, when she found out that her prayers were going to be answered, or having a son. This is 1 Samuel 2 and 10. It says, the adversaries of the Most High shall be broken to pieces. Out of heaven shall he thunder upon them. The Lord shall judge the ends of the earth, and he shall give strength unto his king, and exalt the horn of his anointed. And that word horn, it goes into power. If you look it up, let's go to the word horn. It says horn, strength, rays of light. So it signifies power, man. It says a horn, by implication, a flash, resemblance of elephant's tooth. It says right here, figuratively, power. So going back to the scripture, it says, and they exalt the horn or the power of his anointed. And the anointed is Mashiach Yahweh Shai, who the world only calls Jesus Christ. So this speaks about an anointed of the Lord, the King, destroying his enemies. And that's prophesied throughout all the Old Testament, man. There's a lot of them in Psalms. We're going to grab a few of them. So let's go ahead and get Psalms, the 2nd chapter. This is Psalms 2, we'll start at verse 1. And this is speaking about Yahweh Shai. The subtitle of the chapter, or the name of the chapter, is the reign of the Lord's anointed. And once again, who is the anointed that was promised and prophesied to reign? That's Yahweh Shai. That's the Mashiach. That's that word anointed. That's what it means. Christ means anointed. The word Christians goes into anointed ones. So this is speaking about the anointed of the Lord. The beloved of the Most High, the firstborn spirit created. The Son of the Heavenly Father, the only begotten Son. So we're gonna. It speaks right here about the enemies of the Lord, which are what? Verse 1 says the heathen. Why do the heathen rage? Those are the enemies of the Lord. Verse 2, it says the kings of the earth. Those are the enemies of the Lord. And they're the enemies of the Lord because they're in total rebellion against Yahweh Shai. It says, we're going down to verse 3, it says, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. They're in total rebellion against Yahweh Shai and against his authority. And if they and what's ultimately going to happen, they'll be slain before the Lord. This is keep on going here. And this is how you know it's speaking about Yahweh Shai. This is Psalms 2 and 7. So I will declare the decree, the Lord has said unto me, thou art my son, this day I have begotten thee. And that goes back to what? To the Gospels. When John the Baptist, he baptized Yahweh Shai. There was a voice from heaven saying, this is my son, in whom I am well pleased. This is right here. It says, this is my begotten son. It's going that word begotten. It says, to bear, being forced, to beget, born, to wicked behavior, assist, to be born, to bear, day of birth, declare one's birth, to bear, being forth of childbirth. This is the Lord. This is the son of the Lord. This is the Lord's son. It's just, let's make it plain. You gotta get too complicated with definitions sometimes. But And he is given the right of the firstborn, which is the right of inheritance. Psalms 2:8, it says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. And that goes in that word scattered, man. You go to Psalm the 68th chapter. Let's go ahead and get that. In other scriptures where that word scattered is put, it goes to break in pieces or destroy. This is Psalm 16:1. It says, Yahweh shall scatter his enemies. It says, let Yahweh rise. Let his enemies be scattered. Let them also that hate him flee before him. Let's get that word scattered. And it goes into right here, to dash into pieces. To dash to pieces. You know, as you read in Psalm the 2nd chapter and 1 Samuel's, we read that the Lord is going to scatter and break in pieces his enemies. So the enemies of the Lord are going to be broken in pieces. They're going to be destroyed before him. You know, that's, and people, and that totally contradicts the whole God is love doctrine. That goes totally against it, man. Let's get Psalms the 21st chapter. Well, we'll just start right here. It says, the kings rejoice in the Lord's strength. So we'll go Psalm 21:1. Salakia. Here at the plantation, you know, getting worn out, man. So the king shall joy in thy strength, O Yahweh. In thy salvation, how greatly shall he rejoice. Thou see him our desires, and hold the request with lips. So what does that remind you of? You know, asking me, and shall give you the heathen for thy inheritance. For thou preventest him with the blessings of goodness. Thou says a crown of pure gold upon his head. His life with thee, and thou gavest him. He relates the days forever and ever. For glory is great, salvation, honor, and majesty thou laid upon him. For thou hast made him most blessed forever. Thou hast made sea glad with thy countenance. Now this could be speaking about David himself being the king. But you can also relate this to Yahushua. Because Yahushua is going to get the glory and honor and majesty laid upon him. You know, and so is King David. You know, and because King David's going to be back. He's going to come back. You know, Yahushua is coming back. He's going to be the head over everything. He is the head of the body. He is the head of all Israel. That's the inheritance that he has received. Yeah, it says, his glory is great, salvation, honor, and majesty thou laid upon him, and thou hast made him more blessed forever. Thou hast made him exceeding glad with thy countenance. For the king trusts the Lord, and though the mercy of the Most High shall not be moved. And part of that blessing, part of the kingly blessing, is the destruction of your enemies. And like I said, this can be likened to King David himself, but also this destruction of enemies applies to Yahushua as well. We've been getting to all the scriptures that we've been pulling out. It said, thy hand shall find out thine enemies. Thy right hand shall find out those that hate thee. Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger. That speaks of the ICBM missiles and the laser beams coming from the chariots. The Lord shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them. You know, and the Bible speaks about that constantly, about fire, about destruction of fire, about destruction by fire. You know, the spirit of burning, the spirit of judgment, fire, man. The elements melting with fervent heat. That's a common theme, a prevalent theme throughout all the scriptures. That fiery judgment. You know. It says, their fruit shall be destroyed from the earth, and their seeds among the children of men. For they intended evil. And this could be talking about the Edomites. They intended evil against you. They might mischievous device, but they shall not able to perform. Who's doing that? The Edomites, man. The Edomites are imagining a mischievous device. You know, they think they can be greater than Yahweh Shai, be greater than the Most High. You know, they are puffed up with pride due to technology, thinking that they can overcome life itself. They think they figured out a way to live forever and to rule forever. You know, they actually, you know, they want to re-engineer the human body to make it like a machine, and all they gotta do is replace the parts. You know what I'm saying? All they gotta do is man with technology. You know, they're trying to put your spirit and conscience and your soul into a hard drive. You know, this is the mischievous device that they are not able to perform, because the Most High is going to stop them through Yahweh Shai in their tracks. It said, therefore shalt thou make them turn back when thou shalt make ready thine arrows upon the strings against that face them. Be thou exalted, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, in thine own strength, so we will sing praise in thy power. So this is the scattering of enemies, the destruction of enemies. This is part of the kingly promise. You know, and we also are going to be kings and priests upon the earth as well. And the Lord has promised us destruction and the scattering of our enemies as well, man. You know, the enemies of the Lord are our enemies. Our enemies are the enemies of the Lord. Let's put it like that. And they will get slayed before Yahweh Shai. Let's close it up with this. Luke 19 and 22. This is Luke 19 and 22. Or is it 27? It says slay before me. Yeah, 27. And this is the words in red, the word of Yahweh Shai. I said, but those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. So whatever heathen nations are not going to be in line with the rulership of Yahweh Shai, they're just going to get killed. And that might have to be a, you know, the first generation of the heathens, you know, once we're in the kingdom, until the program is set in their mind, you know, so that they have to obey. You know, we don't know how it's going to happen. You know, how there could be a rebellion. These Edomites Edomites ultimately they're going to get destroyed forever after the 1,000 years of slavery. But the heathen, we will be able to inflict punishment and death upon them for any minor infraction of the law. They will be slayed before Yahweh Shai. You know, and this is the world to come. The world to come is going to be a world ruled by righteousness. I don't know what the term is. I think it's let me find it. It's going to be a theocracy. It says a system of government which priests rule in the name of Yahweh, or what says a god or a god, but in the name of Yahweh. And that's from the word theo, and well, that's what it says here, theocracy. Let's get that etymology. It says the term theocracy originates from the Greek word theocracia, combining theos, God, and kratos, rule. It literally means rule by God or government by God. And so that's the future to come. It's not going to be a technocracy. It's going to be a theocracy. But with that being said, just a real quick lesson. Most High will and hope is edifying. With that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Call Halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Let's keep on pushing. Shalom.